Welcome to I Love My HBCU ? The podcast where we express our undeniable love for HBCUs, but where we are also not afraid to address a few tough questions. So, sit back, learn a little, love a lot, and rep your HBCU. Oh my gosh, this has been an adventure already, and we haven't even hit record yet. It's another episode and another reason to love your HBCU. I have a proud Listen, I love North Carolina A&T because whenever you call on them, they show up.
That's
Angelica
what
Smith,
Aggies do.
welcome. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here today.
I'm excited to have you. Your energy is exhilarating. I'm not kidding when I say I love North Carolina A&T. I did not go, I did not work there, but there's just something that I have felt every single time I run into one of you. So let's start there. What is it about Aggie Pride that the minute you guys step on campus, and it looks like until the day the Lord calls you home, it is ingrained in your very soul? Tell us what that energy is about for you guys, because it's all of you.
Yeah, Aggie born, Aggie bred. When I die, be Aggie dead. So A&T is when you the way that you feel when you're on campus is like home. I remember my very first time stepping foot on A&T's campus. My brother, he's older than me. He's 5 years older than me. He's a graduate as well of my alma mater. And he was there from '05 to '09. I came in 10. So I saw A&T for at least 5 to 6 years before I even was a student there. And the way that the pride feels, the way that the university represent itself, and the way that the students represent themselves, they teach you how to think, not what to think. And that is actually from a former president, President Gibbs. He taught the students that, and that's something that has been like embedded in every Aggie that you meet. And it's nationwide. When you see an Aggie, the love that we have, not only for our institution, not only for being an alum, but for each other, is incredible. And it's something that you really can't explain. It's just a feeling that you feel, and it's within your soul, because it makes you feel like home. It makes you feel a part of something greater than yourself.
We're going to get into this very shortly. You are masterful as a brand expert.
Thank you.
I could listen to you talk about A&T and Aggie Pride like continuously. There's an energy you bring to branding that I don't think can be taught.
Thank you.
How would you describe your brand?
So my brand is, and it took a while for me to really understand my niche and know who I was as a person. Like, I always felt like I was something, I want to be something greater than myself. I want to help people. My personality is my strength, but at one point it was my weakness. I felt like I had to dim my light when I walk into a room because I was too extra. I have all of this energy. When I walk into a room, I'm like, hey, everybody, good morning. And people are like, it's too early for all of that. And in my mind, I felt
Yeah.
like I had to calm down a little and tone it down. And there was this young lady when I was an orientation student leader at A&T. Her name was Courtney Jackson. She wrote us all cards, individual cards, at the end of the summer. And one thing she said was, I envy you for your personality because you have sunshine. When you walk into a room, you're sunshine. And it helped me embrace who I was, and it let me know that I carry empathy, I carry compassion, and authenticity, and that's what made me who I am. It's all about poise for me. My mom, she was a pageant girl growing up, and she taught me to just be my best self and be a representation of who I inspire others. And so that became my brand. That was before I even started doing pageantry. And now I see people and I talk to them because it makes them who they are, and it makes them unique and set them aside, and they're different from the next person. And I think that your brand is who you are.
Angelica, if you have not tuned in to I Love My HBCU ? I'm always writing notes. I had a student tease me and say, "Are you like doing your own therapy notes as guests are talking?" And I really do value what people say, and I want to remember it later on. And as you were talking, if I were in your branding class, what I would walk away from everything that you just said is I should actually pay attention to the thing people might criticize about me,
Mhm.
and I should pay attention to the thing that people may not necessarily like about me, because that might be my special sauce.
It may be your special sauce.
That's what I would take. Literally, I just wrote here, "You are sunshine." It's one of the first things that I wrote. And then the second thing I wrote was, "Look out for what they criticize, because that actually might be your superpower."
Maybe your
That I took that away from literally everything you just said. So here's hoping that before the end of this podcast, you're going to give us at least three branding tips that
oh,
every
yes,
single HBCU student might want to consider. And we're
absolutely.
going to start with this being the first one. The first one being the thing that they criticize about you, don't take that to heart too much, because everybody tells you not to dim your light, but
Mhm.
nobody tells us the how. What does that mean for me not to dim my light, for me not to get discouraged when somebody tells me I'm too much?
Yeah.
What does that really mean? How do I really put that into practice? We have the branding expert in the room, and she's going to give us a couple more tips.
Yes, absolutely. I would love to.
So, Angelica, it would be, oh my gosh, a shame of me if I did not also, you just referenced it, but anyone who is doing themselves the disservice of not watching this episode and just listening, get to YouTube really quickly, because you're going to see Angelica with this lovely sash. There we go. So, Angelica, please tell us what the sash represents. Tell us what your title represents for you in this moment. And
So
that's me,
I
of
am
course.
currently, yes, of course, I am currently Ms. Universal Petite 2025. I just won 1 month ago in June. So we're in August. So let's
Congratulations.
thank you, thank you. I wasn't a pageant girl growing up. As I stated before, I was on the Royal Court at A&T. And see, I'm saying I keep referencing A&T because it really shaped me into the woman that I am. Like I had the foundation from where I'm from, but going into A&T, it really shaped me into being this woman. And so I was on a royal court, but I wasn't in pageantry. And it
Hmm.
wasn't until last year when I joined pageantry, and that was in the Petite USA, which is a pageant system for women who are 5'6" or shorter in height. And I said, "Oh, I'm 5'1". I stopped growing when I was in 7th grade in height. So I think this is great for me." And I applied for being District of Columbia. That's where I'm from. And I was appointed the Miss District of Columbia Petite title. So Petite USA was my very first pageant. I did not know anything about it. I
Oh,
didn't know anything
wow.
about pageantry. And I had my pageant coach. Her name is Deborah Missy Scott. She is amazing, phenomenal. And she really talked to me and really brought the queen out of like what it was inside of me. And I went on and I was talking to my therapist. She said, "What do you want from this pageant?" I said, "I want to win." She said, what if that doesn't happen?" And I said, "Well, you know what? I want to go and I want to be my best self and I want to represent something greater than me and I want to be able to step outside of my comfort zone." So I went on to Petite USA and I ended up winning. And it really shaped and changed my life in a totally different way. And it allowed me to bring myself up to a level that I've been holding out on of being my highest self. And that's embodying the queen inside of me. And with that, I had my reign of Petite USA and I went on to the international title competing against women all across the world. And I became Ms. Universal Petite. So whatever the dream that you have is not, don't think that it's not capable of achieving, because I never would have imagined this time last year that I'll hold an international title.
I'm in shock. And the shock is, I knew the title. I knew that you were wearing this title, but I did not realize that prior to this title, you had never entered any pageant?
No,
None?
none. No, I have not.
So
I was
I
not a
just
pageant
wrote,
girl.
I literally just wrote, "Do that thing that you are thinking of doing." So again, this is notes for all of us. I keep
Yeah,
saying for the students, it's for all of us,
it's
including
for all of
myself.
us.
Um, do that thing that you were thinking of, but also speak your goals into existence. Because I love the way you said that your therapist asked you, what exactly do you want from the pageant? And you said you want to win,
Yeah,
and you've won both of them,
both
which
of them.
is nuts to me. Congratulations
Thank you.
again.
Thank you.
Um, When I watch pageants, I have over time learned to respect pageantry. But I will be honest in saying that when I was a lot younger, I didn't understand them. It's not even that I teased them. I didn't understand them. For many of us in the world that don't get, well, why enter a pageant? What's the point? So there's the winning part, but
Yeah.
why enter a pageant? There's a student out there who I bet you is thinking about it, or is curious about it, or is critical of it. Why
Mhm.
enter a pageant?
So in pageantry, it's more than just being a beautiful face, right? Like that's the surface level of it. That's what people see on stage, but there's so many other aspects that go into pageantry. Interview is actually your biggest portion of the percentage in winning. And the judges, you meet with the judges outside off the stage. This is not on stage question and answer. This is not walking in a ball gown on stage. This is an interview with you and a panel of judges in a room. And they ask you about your platform, your why. Why are you here? And every pageant woman, queen, young girl that you see that is on stage has a purpose behind why they're there. It's something that they represent. Me personally, I represent, in my platform is stature does not determine strength. So regardless of your height, regardless of your size, regardless of any obstacle that you have faced, that does not define who you are, and that's not a limitation of the capabilities you can achieve. And that's what I represent. I didn't know what I wanted to stand for when I joined the pageantry system. I said, well, what, most people go down the health route. Some people may be close to animals, but me, petite is who I am. It's bigger than a title. Like I stated before, I'm a petite girl through and through. Height, weight, size, everything about me is petite. But although I'm small, I'm mighty. And so, although I'm petite, I'm powerful. And that is my platform. That is what I want to represent. And so, when you meet with these judges, you talk about what you're representing. You talk about how you're making an impact in your community, if you're on the community level, in your state, if you're on a state level, and if you're nationally, what are you going to do nationally? How are you going to touch people in other states? And that's what the judges look for. Me personally, internationally, I want to be able to really make an impact in the world. And so that is really why people join pageantry, to represent something greater than themselves.
Wow. What does that impact look like for you? Because you said you want to make an impact throughout the world with this title, and you mentioned about your stature should not define you. You are definitely petite, 5'1". I have friends who are short, and I'm always teasing them. They're gonna knock me for this, but it's the truth. Because I'm 5'10", 3/4, and I'm always teasing them. But that does not discount the power that you always bring to the table. What do you want that impact to be?
So I started my own company because of this. It really made me realize that I have something to offer this world. And I had all of these jewels inside of me. And I'll have conversations with people. I'm like, ooh, that's a jewel drop. So I used to say jewel drops with jelly because that's my nickname, right? And so I put it together, and I actually had a conversation with the former Universal Queen. Her name's Rachel Betterly. And she said, well, why wait till you're international? Go ahead and start now. So I noticed that, of course, as I said it before, my personality is what make me unique. So I wanted to be able to create an academy that can be able to teach people that your uniqueness is your power. And so I
Absolutely.
created Be Unique Academy, and it really represent people for authentic branding, personal development, class sophistication, and personal etiquette, and really being able to represent yourself when you walk into a room. Because the thing about it is, when you walk into a room, that is your brand. Before you open your mouth, how you present yourself, that is your story. People start to go ahead and say, okay, oh, she demands a room when she walk in. You ain't even open your mouth and say hello yet. And that is really what make you unique. And so I really started being able to connect with people outside of the US. So a former queen that I ran with, she actually told me in the time we were at the pageant, she said, well, I took some of your tips that you have on your academy, and I apply them to the things that I do. And she's in Canada. Same thing for someone in England. They had a conversation with me, and they were like, the tips that you provided, and that was 30 days in me creating my academy. So
Wow.
if I can be able to impact and touch people in 3 different countries within 30 days of starting the company, imagine what I can do if I
Imagine.
really have a reign and a platform and a foundation to really publicize it.
I love it. Listen, let me quickly get to this rapid fire because on the back end of that rapid fire, you're going to give us a master class in branding,
Yes,
especially for our students. And this is a freebie, guys. The next
the
time you
freebie.
get in front of her, you're going to be paying a lot of money. So, all right, 67 seconds on the clock. I'm going to ask you a bunch of rapid fire questions, and
Okay.
I'm looking forward. I'm taking that first question off. I just saw the question about rate your university from 1 through 10. She's going to give North Carolina A&T infinity. So I'm taking that question off. Infinity. She's going to
Yeah.
give, I don't even think I should ask any NCAT student that question because they always give the score insane amounts.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. So now 67 seconds on the clock. Describe your HBCU experience in one word.
One word. Oh my gosh. Oh my, I'm on a time limit. I would
Yes.
say life changing. Is that one word? That's two words. I'm
We'll,
sorry, but
we'll,
it's a
we'll
dash. So
hyphen,
life
there's a
changing.
dash. It's
Life
hyphenated, life
changing.
changing. If your time in college was a song, what song would it be?
Ooh, it will be. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, I'm losing at this game. If my time in college was a song, it will probably be. It'll have to be a Beyonce song. It would have to be a Beyonce song. I'll probably say Diva by Beyonce
Diva
because
by
that's how,
Beyonce.
yeah, that's how I
Okay.
walked every day.
She's a diva. Ooh, what would you have wanted to tell your college roommate but didn't?
My college roommate's my best friend. That's kind of biased. Um, that the details is what make a person.
The details is what makes a person. On a scale of 1 through 10, how good of a student were you?
I was actually 11. I was a teacher's pet. I sat in the front of every classroom at the top of the T, like, and I went to the office hours. I color coordinated my notes. I was an overachiever.
She said I was an 11. Okay. All right. Last question. I've been told that the time is up, which is good. Shout out your favorite professor or person, or it could be a faculty member, it could be a student. Your favorite person while you were at North Carolina A&T, and what did they do or teach?
Mr. Watkins, he was my advisor. He really shaped me when it came to my degree and my major, as well as pushing me to get my first job. So he was definitely an amazing mentor.
I love it. So I typically ask everyone to share us their college selection journey. It sounds to me that North Carolina A&T was in your blood even before you stepped on campus and you were always going to pick North Carolina A&T. So I'll give you that. As somebody,
My mom's a Ram. She went to win some state, so I have to make that statement, or else she'll be upset.
and you're
But
from North
A&T was in my
Carolina. A&T was in her blood. You're
blood.
from North Carolina.
Yes.
There are several universities in North Carolina. What would you say? Ooh,
Uh-oh. This is juicy.
this is juicy. Taking North Carolina A&T off the list. What would you say to an incoming, yes, ma'am, what would you say to an incoming student who does not know their pathway through college? First generation students is what I'm talking about here. And they're trying to pick a college. What would be the three things you would say to them? Look out for this. And the reason why I want to take North Carolina A&T off the list for you is because it'll be biased. There we
Okay.
go.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
go ahead.
So I work with college students quite often, especially and also students who are pursuing colleges and universities, and we always push for them to attend HBCUs. But find an institution that make you feel like home, that make you feel like you're not just a number on that campus. Find an institution that match with your path of what you want to do with your life and your career. Don't pick a university just because of the hype around it. Every
Mm,
institution is going to be a party school. It's what you make it, right? So don't make that the expectation of why you should attend an
of
institution.
course.
And
Of
then
course.
lastly, be able to try out different organizations, whether that is SGA or student activities or your hometown organization. There is something for everyone at these institutions, everyone. So be able to really find the one that speaks to you. And it's okay to have multiple, but don't put too much on your plate because you don't want to get overwhelmed because academics is your reason why you're there.
How did you know what you wanted to do?
When I was a senior in high school, there was a teacher. Her name is Miss Gay. She taught us about marketing. She was my marketing teacher, and so we saw this video about NASCAR, and I was impressed on how people are willing to pay hundreds and thousands of dollars to have their
Absolutely.
logo on a car that fly around a stadium that you can't even see that the sticker is there. And I wanted to be in the rooms to create those negotiations because it was where money was. And so that's how I began sports marketing. And when the day of orientation, I said I should have went to school for public relations. And Mr. Watkins said, stay with it. He just said stay with it, and it was the best decision because even though I work in corporate marketing now, it was the major that I was in, the professor that I had really helped and shaped me to grow.
Wow. Listen, now I see why you're saying you were an 11. I'm scared to ask you what number you would give yourself in high school. In high school, you knew and you had that sensibility already that this is what I wanted to do. And just hearing and I'm going to say hindsight is 2020. If you are telling me, Angelica, that in high school you were able to describe that entire analogy that you just gave about NASCAR, then I need to go back to college because that's insane. That's, that's insane. That is insane.
My teacher, she taught us a lot about marketing. So everything she taught me in high school, when I was in my marketing and management classes in college, I knew she was a great teacher. She was great. I was her
Wow.
teacher's pet. I actually graded my classmates' tests during her office hours. I was I was overachiever for sure.
I love this. I love this for you, and it's scaring me ever so slightly, but I love this for you. I love this for you. I love this for you. I bet you there are some students watching this right now like I might as well just give up. If
No, no,
Angelica
no,
did
please
all of
don't
this
give
this
up.
early,
No, don't give
what I
up.
mean, I must be a slacker. I
My
must
mom was
be
a
this.
teacher. My mom was
Okay.
a teacher, so
Okay.
she really pushed me to get to know my teachers in that way because it helped me see them for who they are because they're more than just professors, they're more than just teachers, and they have lives and personalities too. So I was close to teachers because my mom was a teacher and I know how much passion she put in it, and I wanted to be able to really learn my teacher and my professors outside of them just being my teacher because that's the details of who they are and why they teach how they teach.
I appreciate that context. That context matters.
It matters, guys. I
So that
promise
the
you.
rest of us don't feel like slackers from really early ages. So that context absolutely matters. I want to pivot back to Be Unique Academy and what you do with individuals. And like I said, I want you to give us a quick master class for any student who's watching this, especially students from HBCUs. Um, I don't you do visit a lot of HBCU campuses. I work at an
Mhm,
HBCU and I'm not kidding. Every summer, and I'm an administrator, so I'm there all year round. Every summer we all take a deep breath. The campus, kind of dies down a little bit,
mhm,
even though we have summer classes, aren't always that many people on there. And then August is that sweet month where you
yeah.
start seeing more students coming in. And then we take a look at each other, at ourselves, and start guessing what kind of year we're going to have based on the way the students show up.
Mhm,
And I'm talking dress style. I'm
mhm.
talking the manner in which they speak to one another, the manner in which they speak to us. Is this going to be a raucous of a year?
Yeah.
Or is this going to be like we do
Mhm.
this, right? So I'm curious for the student who is listening and who wants to set themselves apart,
Okay.
or who just wants to know and start early in defining their brand.
Yeah.
What are your tips?
So these are three tips, and I actually posted these on my academy, but I want to share them here.
I
So,
appreciate it.
what do you want to be known for? although you're a student, you can leave a legacy. I feel like I left a legacy at A&T, and when I go back, it shows, especially the homecoming. I'm not just going back just to have a good time. I want to talk to the chancellor. I want to talk to administration. I try to go 2 days before, like at least Thursday or Friday, so I can be able to see my former professors and keep that relationship with them and be able to go to the games and not just sit and be in the crowd. So what do you want to be known for? You can leave your legacy. I tell a lot of Royal Court kings and queens that I meet that are at HBCUs, I tell them, don't just have the title just to be able to say that you have the name. You need to leave a legacy. You're an advocate for your student body, or you're an advocate for the university if you're the Miss and Mr. of that institution. Don't just wear the title. Be something greater than that. Leave your legacy. So what do you want to be known for? The second thing I would say is audit your online presence. A lot of college students feel like they can have a Finsta and they can have their Instagram is different from their LinkedIn. Their Facebook is, they don't really have one, but people find that information. What you post on Twitter, X, what you post on Threads, what you post on social, on Instagram, it all matters. And even if you don't think people don't see your TikTok, coming from somebody who works in marketing, we do. We find it all. So be able to audit that. Make sure that's a reflection of who you are, not just on social media, because they'll say, well, who I'm on social media, that's just for fun. That's not who I am. It, for someone who doesn't know you, it's exactly the same. So be able to clean out your Instagram, clean out the things that you say. Don't ever say anything that people can come back years later and they can pull a tweet that you said because you were angry at a professor, you were angry at a student, you were angry at a friend, and you said something that can be used against you. So make sure you audit your online presence. And then the last thing I would say is align your image with your intentions. So if you want to be able to say, I want to be known as being best dressed, then that means when you go in the cafeteria on a Saturday morning, it doesn't matter if 5 people are in there. You need to be able to wear something that represents who you are, whether that's if you're at a game, if you're in the library. It audit your intentions with your image. If you want to keep having your hair done, make sure you keep up with these things, because it's a reflection of how you take care of yourself, how you represent yourself.
Align your image with your intentions,
Hmm.
audit your online presence,
Hmm.
and what do you want to be known for?
Yeah.
Those are mic drops in and of themselves. And the reason why I'm saying they're mic drops in and of themselves, I don't know if they heard you. If you didn't hear her, especially when she said audit your online presence, what you think, she's in marketing, guys. What you think that they can't find, they can find it.
They'll find it.
I know students want to post whatever, do whatever. I see it all the time. I
Hmm.
have a thing where I do not follow my students back, and they're like, well, Dr. Tosin, why don't you? And I'm like, ooh, I have seen a few things and I'm like, I'm scared.
I don't want that on my timeline.
I
I
don't.
can't open my phone and see that.
So it's not that I don't support you. I absolutely support you. And anything you want me to see, send that to me.
Yeah.
But the surprise, sexy poses, the
Red
parts of your
cups in
body
your
part
hands,
that I didn't, all of that stuff, I
thoughts
don't
when you're under
necessarily think,
21.
I don't want to be seeing those things. Now, this is also the generation, Angelica, as you know, that says one must accept them exactly the way they are. Can you speak to that? We are in that space,
Yeah.
and I see the struggle back and forth between this generation, Generation Z, Generation Alpha, and those older. And I see the tension whereby those older are a little bit heavy handed on them,
Hmm.
and then that generation is, guys, you're not going to muzzle our voices.
Yeah.
But let's bring that into audit your online presence, align your image with your intention, and what do you want to be known for? How would you convey the message to this generation that believes however I show up is how you should receive me, and however I am, like just quite
Mhm.
literally take me as I am. How do you handle that impression with regards to the three tips that you've just given?
Of course. So I would say with that, it's okay to be yourself as we stated before, that's what make you unique. That's what make you who you are. We're not trying to change you, but you have to be able to know the level of respect for yourself in order to receive that respect. I think a lot of people, I'm not going to say everyone, and not just this generation, but just say in general, they want respect given, and they walk into the room in defense already because they feel like it's not going to be given.
Mm.
But you have to be able to meet that person halfway. So it just like how you're trying to predetermine how that person is perceiving you. How are you presenting yourself to be perceived? And that you come in with a defense mechanism thinking that they're not going to accept you. Well, why is that? And now it comes off in this arrogant way. And when the person does not agree to the level of where you are, you find they're not accepting me. They're trying to change me. That's
Yeah.
not the case. You
Yeah.
have to come in and you have to be respectful, because as soon as you open your mouth, they're going to see who you are. They're going to hear who you are. They're going to know that you're intelligent. They're going to know that you come with something. You have meaning. You have purpose in your life and the things that you stand for. But you have to be able to walk in that. Confidence isn't about just what you say. It's about how you present yourself,
Of
and
course.
you have to be able to have that same level of respect on all across the board. So if you want to be able to come off in a confident way and be able to say, okay, my hair is blue, but that doesn't define who I am, then walk in that way. It's you can still have etiquette in class, but still be
With blue
unique and
hair.
different.
Absolutely. 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 I love that. I love that. I love the offense and defense analogy that you brought to the table, because it is, I'm not going to mention any student, no, and I'm going to try not to describe this so that the student doesn't know that I'm talking about them. But I've had students who show up in class with what's it called? Those what are those tops that you wear that show your belly button? Why can't
Crop
I
tops.
crop why okay,
Crop
crop
tops.
tops, yes.
Hmm.
And you can see there is an energy and an attitude as they walk into the
Hmm.
room, and exactly what you just said is happening. You wore the crop top. The question becomes, were you wearing it out of confidence because that's just how you feel that day? Or were you wearing it out of wanting attention? Because your whole nonverbal literally is telling me that you're already defensive
Yeah.
and you're waiting on a reaction, and I
Yeah.
might not even have a reaction for you because I don't care what you have on, to be extremely honest. if
Yeah.
if that's how you want the world to see you and that's how you walked out that day, that's how you walked out that day. The
Hmm.
same way I've told some of my female students who walk out of their rooms and their skirts are a little short and they keep pulling their shorts down, and I have a saying: if you have to keep on pulling
Pulling
it
your
down,
skirt down.
then you know it's too short and should you have worn it that day. So
Yeah.
I love the analogy that you brought on with regards to the defensiveness, even without knowing what the other person and how the other person is going to receive what you said.
Hmm.
I want to apply again, you're a marketing and branding expert, and we have seen, I would say, an interesting flux of how HBCUs are seen across the nation over the last however many decades. And I want your take on that. I want you to grade, take NCAT off the table. I want you, because if I ask you,
Bias.
of course, of course, if I ask you, which I really do want to ask you, not want to, I'm going to ask you to mention which HBCUs you think currently have the best brands.
Okay.
And you're going to put NCAT first. That's why I'm saying take NCAT off the
We
table.
we brand our cookies, our
See,
napkins, our
see,
straws. It does not
see,
matter. We are
see.
branded. So
So
okay,
let's let's take let's take NCAT off the table. Give me
okay.
five HBCUs that you think right now they've got really, really strong brands.
Okay. So I travel at one point with my company that I work for, Thurgood Marshall College Fund, to multiple HBCUs that we are partnered with, and I got to see the culture of the HBCUs because, of course, on social media, everything looks good on social media,
Of course.
and I'm like, oh, this school look like they have a good time. I would have to say, when it comes to branding, I will look at more than just how they present themselves on campus. I will look at online, I will look at when you step on campus, how they greet you. When you're in a classroom, how the professors teach, how the students walk and move. Out of that, I have traveled to institutions from here in the DMV area all the way to the University of the Virgin Islands in St. Thomas
Nice.
and St. Croix. I would have to say the top 5 HBCUs that highly brand themselves, and I can't use North Carolina A&T
Nope.
State University.
No, because
Um,
that gets number one in your book. We know this.
of course
So
it is.
no.
So I will use different categories when it
Okay.
comes to the campus and the image of the campus of how clean I would say the campus is. When I say clean, I mean like whether that's the landscape of the campus or the students who are there. I would have to say Norfolk State. I worked on Norfolk State's campus for a little time, and it was just the campus is a beautiful campus. So I would have to put Norfolk State when it comes to the image of the institution, and when you go on campus of how it just looks very welcoming. When it comes to the student excellence of how they present themselves when they introduce themselves with their elevator pitch, because we always tell our students you have to introduce yourself. Hey, my name is Jane Doe. I am such and such scholar from blah 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 XYZ state, and I am a rising sophomore. Like when it comes to how they present themselves in interviews, I would have to say Howard University,
Okay.
because I've interviewed quite a few students for Howard University with our student ambassador program. When it comes to the pride that the scholars have and the hypeness of the institution, and of course I can't say A&T, I'll have to say FAMU really come in with that they like to enjoy their time on campus. I would have to say Southern University and A&M College when it comes to just the overall experience of college of a college student. I've been on their campus, and I saw the way that they allow themselves to be able to enjoy their experience on campus, and they give it their all. And then lastly, I would, if I had to categorize it with excellence, that actually a lot of people kind of they they don't really pay attention to the history that this institution has, is Tuskegee University, because it's rich in history, and they have a great program when it comes to well, just great programs. So I do think that if you do your research about Tuskegee, you realize like they actually have a lot of great things, a lot of great programs and opportunities and majors that a lot of people don't pay attention to.
Angelica, for what you do for a living and for what you do as your business, number one, thank you for answering the question. It's easy for you to say, no, that's too tough. I'm not going to answer that because how do I pick
Yeah,
amongst all these institutions, knowing that all of them are vying to make their presence and their marketing better? So number one, thank you for even answering.
yeah. I'm not biased,
Num-
guys. I promise. I'm just going off of what I see traveling to different universities.
and number two for me, which is important to state, that I'm sure that depending on several different measures, you could pick another five
Yeah.
for several different measures. And I think that's important to state. For the record, because she quickly gave that disclaimer, I'm not biased. This is just her experience. I think it's necessary to have something sometimes to look up to. You're somebody that has been to, I'm willing to say you've been to more than half of the HBCUs that
Yeah.
exist through what you do. And we need to take it from somebody like you when you're telling us, as a marketing expert, that these are the ones that, when you look at a comprehensive version of one's brand, they're doing their thing.
Yeah.
And for the ones that don't make it to your list, and this is just Angelica's list, for the ones that don't make it to Angelica's list, I think it's something to aspire to as opposed to being upset about it.
These are, and just a disclaimer, these are the public institutions, okay?
Yes,
I didn't
she did
choose any
the
privates
private
because I have not been to private institutions as much as public,
as
because
much.
TMCF is partnered with public institutions. So
Absolutely.
if I go to, invite me to your institution, I'll be able to
She will come.
determine the
She will
quality of
come.
your
She will
school.
come. She will come. So let's handle HBCUs as a totality
Yes.
and not piecemealing it. I am a proud three-time, all my degrees are from HBCUs, and I'm extremely proud of that. Two different HBCUs, but extremely proud of it. But I've also been told that I belonged somewhere else.
Mhm.
I've also been told that my talents were a little bit too highbrow for an
Mhm.
HBCU when I first of all started. Because I also, like I said earlier on, that I teach and I'm an administrator at an HBCU. I've heard all of it. And I blame us. I don't blame those who told me those things. I blame us because I have had the experience that as much as many of us are extremely excited about our HBCUs, I don't think we always place the value proposition of our HBCUs out there.
No.
And that's what I want us to talk about. And I want your, not just your take, some guidelines. Um, and this, before my students come after me, this is not me saying that. I mean, gosh, I have a podcast called I Love My HBCU question mark with a question mark at the end, very intentional as opposed to an exclamation point. This is not me saying that when different things happen at HBCUs that we should not call them out and
Mhm.
we should not have an issue with them. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying though is in spite of those things, knowing all the shortfall of resources that HBCUs don't get, blah, 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 we sometimes do the worst job of bringing down the names of our HBCUs.
Oh yeah.
And whether we like it or not, that's part of the branding story that other people hear. I want your take on that, on how, I mean, gosh, ask Angelica Smith about North Carolina A&T, and there's North Carolina A&T can do no wrong. When Jesus Christ
No, I
came
didn't say
to
that.
let me stop. Let me stop. Let me stop. But there's a love that you have for your institution that is, gosh, it isn't subpar. It is elevated. It is also very honest from what I've heard you say. Can we talk about how some of us malign our institutions and the damage, the potential damage that that could do long after we've graduated? As a marketing expert,
Oh
I
yeah.
want your take on that.
Oh, absolutely. It starts with our alumni and giving back. I worked in development and fundraising, and I noticed that the young alumni they do not give back.
They don't.
And they'll say for various reasons, I don't have enough. I have student loans. I can't pay it back. I gave my institution everything. So why should I try to give back? Well, the thing about it is this: when you get back to your institution, then they have funding, additional funding that is if they're a stateside institution, that those funds are allocated. If they are a private institution, then they solely depend on their own funding. When you do not give back as an alum to your institution, then that means they don't have the proper funding. That means they don't have the proper resources for other things that the institution may need, whether that is their facilities, whether that's programs, whether that's athletics. All of these things matter. So, for example, I'll use sports because I work on A&T campus and Norfolk State campus in the Department of Intercollegiate Athletics. When sports teams are winning, that brings in revenue, especially football and basketball, because those are revenue sports. That means
Mm,
people are starting to come because people love to be a part of winning teams. When the team win, that means that on the admission side, people want to go to those institutions because it's elevated now because they see that you're winning. That means athletes will start to go to these institutions where they can be able to, especially Division 1. There are so many HBCUs that are Division 1 institutions that people don't do their research to know.
mm-hmm,
Like that's what the
mm-hmm,
MEAC is. MEAC is Division 1. The SWAC is Division 1. All of these schools up under these divisions, I mean, up under these two divisions are, conferences are Division 1's institutions. With that, I think when alumni does not give back to their institutions, we don't have the proper resources. Therefore, you see at these other institutions that are not HBCUs, they have
mm,
all of these resources, and people are always choosing the top athletes to go there because in our minds, and I will say our minds because I'm talking about
mm,
people of color, they think
mm-hmm,
that if you go to these top PWIs, that's how you're going to go to the NFL. We have people from the NFL that went to A&T. Tariq Cohen is a good friend of mine who went to the NFL. That's just one person at my institution, but just imagine the other institutions from Southern universities, from FAMU that graduated and went to went to the NFL. I feel like if people give back and pour into their institution can flourish in different ways because we have the proper funding. But yet we talk about where we are, we talk about things that are happening. We go back to campus during homecoming and we're quick to point out the flaws, but how are you helping the institution? Are you having a time to try to get to know the new chancellor? Are you having a moment to be able to talk to the people who are the vice president of student affairs to be able to talk about the student programs that are happening? If you're not doing that, then you're a part of the problem also. And that is something that I've noticed with just my peers. I ask them all the time, did you donate? Even if it's
Mm,
$25. We did an 1891 initiative where you can give $1.89, $18.91, $190, and like whatever fits your budget, just to give back and do
yeah.
something, because then you're doing your part. And that is my take on why I feel like we think that HBCUs are not progressing and developing, because one thing about these HBCUs, when you talk about the engineering program, and I can go back to A&T as reference. We're the number one institution in North Carolina that produced Black engineers, and I work with corporate partners who are looking for these talented students to be able to give them job opportunities. And guess what? They're looking for that diversity.
Yeah.
So don't think that because you went to an HBCU, your degree, as my degree is sports science fitness management, is here, and someone else degree that's sports science fitness management that went to Chapel Hill is here, because it's not. Because I can graduate, and not only do I know about what I studied, I also know how to work with people because I've been a minority all my life and I understand them.
Mm, mm. I'm not adding a single thing to what you said. Not one single thing to what you said. The biggest takeaway for me is be part of the solution
Hmm.
as best as you can and not continue to be part of the problem. Acknowledge the problems, but be part of the solution and not continue just talking about the problems. I appreciate that. Angelica, we covered so many things. I didn't even realize how far we had gone and how long it's been. Is there anything that when we were scheduled to have this conversation, you said, I must bring up X? Is there anything that I should have asked you that I have not covered? Please share it with our audience.
Oh, so I would just say, regardless of whatever institution that you attend and whatever HBCU that is near to your heart, own that and be able to be proud of that. When you graduate, while you're a student there, create an impact, leave a legacy. I know we already said that, but I said that earlier, but I wanted to reinstate it and mention it again because it is so powerful, because you do not know how strong and how big your voice can be. And you have to be able to be confident enough to utilize that, because when you graduate, there may be some little girl or some little boy who's looking up to you, who say, I want to be just like that person, whether that's a stranger that you do not know, a little cousin that you have, a brother or a little sister that you may know, or even just a friend of the family. Be able to leave your mark on your institution in whatever way that looks for you.
Angelica Smith, Be Unique Academy. I can't end this without giving those 3 branding tips again. What do you want to be known for? Audit your online presence and align your image with your intentions. Angelica, end this episode for me. One word or short phrase on why you, Angelica Smith, loves HBCUs.
One word:
Or phrase.
life changing.
On that note, thank you for tuning into I Love My HBCU question mark. I know that I've enjoyed this conversation with Angelica because she is absolutely amazing. She bleeds Aggie pride, quite literally. So I had to just, hold it back every now and then. Um, it is impossible for you not to go ahead and like this episode because of her. And I hope that I've done justice in convincing you to subscribe to I Love My HBCU question mark. Yours in HBCU pride. See you next episode. And Angelica, again, thank you so much for being
Thank
my
you.
guest today.
Thank you for having me. It's been an honor.
Absolutely. You've been listening to I Love My HBCU question mark. Let's keep the conversation going as we share our stories and encourage more practical support of HBCUs, whilst of course holding each other accountable. Don't forget to follow and subscribe for the latest episodes.
Until next time, love and lift your HBCU.